All right, we're doing it.
So we got to fight. And I threw him out of the house.
He said he shot himself, and I was in complete disbelief.
Find something that'll make you smile and laugh every day.
Seeing the mother and father holding the baby.
Enter as strangers.
Welcome to the Enter as Strangers podcast, number 22.
It's 22?
Yeah.
All right. Take your word for it.
Yeah, it's podcast number 22.
Good.
What's up, man?
I'm hot, dude.
Yeah. Why are you so hot?
I don't know. Sweating.
So you're all worked up. You're burning from the inside. Maybe you got a fever.
Nah.
Nah.
Don't feel like a fever. Don't give me your bad mojo.
I'm just
over
asking.
here.
Maybe you got a fever. That's all I'm
I don't
asking.
know. Feel my head.
No.
Okay.
So I'm hot too, but I'm always hot.
Hmm.
So, podcast number 22. We did not have a guest this weekend like we normally do.
No.
And that's just due to some scheduling issues and things like that. But hopefully we'll have someone interested in coming in soon. Let's talk about that for a minute.
Okay.
I'm going to call people to the floor.
Uh-oh.
People I approach about doing the podcast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't tell you this, but I reached out to 3 different people today, not including the one I reached out to the other day that I was telling you about.
Gotcha.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And I told you what happened with the first one was never got back to me on the thing, right?
Right.
And so, which is fine. Mom reached out to her. She said she'd get a hold of me, never did yet.
Okay.
So, which is fine, but I think people, like, they think it's a good idea when they first hear it,
Yeah.
and then they start to think about, like, you know.
They get nervous.
There's a guest we were trying to have early on that was like that. I think gets nervous.
What do you think it is? Like, I think partially it's, people go, well, I don't got anything interesting to say. I don't got an interesting
and I
story.
think it's-
But when in reality, they all
do.
do. And
I think that's more the fear is that they know they got an interesting story, and I think that they're afraid of being vulnerable. I really think that's what it is, because I reached out to someone else today and said, hey, so-and-so suggested, come on the podcast, be interesting, and it took them forever to respond, and they were like, oh, I'm flattered, let me think about this, because not many people know. And I wasn't even sure what they were talking about.
Right.
And so, I'm like, okay, we'll give it some thought, let me know, And then 2 more people, which that Cameron guy is going to do the podcast.
Oh, is he?
But it's probably going to be next week. He can do next week.
That'll be fun.
Yeah.
It'll be a good one.
Yeah, I bet he's got some cool stories.
Way excited for that one.
Yeah, so anyway, people...
It's that vulnerability, man. It'll
just
get
relax. That's why you should come on the podcast.
Yeah.
So we've gone
Use it as a practice.
Yeah, because we've gone on a few extra days without doing a podcast, and it bugs me
Yeah.
when we don't.
Sorry.
I need it.
Sorry.
I'm not blaming you.
No, it's partially my fault. I'll take
It's
credit.
all your fault.
Whatever. Pin it on me.
I'm just kidding. But you can tell the difference. I can tell the difference when I'm like, dude, got to do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
It's got to go to therapy
Oh, yeah.
one way or another.
Gotta get it
Which
out.
maybe I just need to sit in my living room and plug a microphone in and listen to myself talk. Maybe
Yeah.
that's all I need to do.
Just do audio journals.
Yeah, but I feel like I got to have headphones on.
Well, take your...
I just don't know what it's in an audio journal. I feel like this is my audio journal.
Well, it is, but if you're,
Not getting too personal or whatever.
Yeah, if you're not getting enough time on the mic.
So people that have been listening to the podcast know a little bit of backstory. So they're probably asking the question, they're probably saying right now, how was skydiving? So do you tell them how skydiving went? Just so people are updated and they know.
It sucked ass.
Yep.
Worst experience ever. And that would be because we didn't get to go skydiving.
Didn't get to go.
Woke up Sunday, I'm sorry, and wind was howling pretty good.
Yeah, it was.
It was moving, but keeping an eye on, aviation reports and so on. All of them said by, 1, 2 o'clock it's supposed to start dying down and remain pretty calm for the rest of the day. So I called them early and just checked in and said, yeah, we're going to be pushing people back, but, stay by your phone. We'll call you when we're ready, and, we're not giving up hope for the day and so on. So I'm like, okay, great. Lined it up with everyone coming up from the valley, just, timing wise and so on, so they're not sitting around forever, hopefully.
Right, meaning the other jumpers.
Yeah.
Okay.
But 1 o'clock rolls around, which is our original appointment time. Haven't heard from him. Like, okay. Finally, they call, about 1:30ish or so. And at this time, I'd been keeping an eye. It's at home. The clouds broke. Blue sky was shining. Winds died down and had been dead
Right.
for a little while. And I was like, all right, getting excited to call him. She's like, oh, no, just want to let you know we're going to shut down for the day. What? The instructors and the dive team think there's some turbulent winds up there, and they just don't want to risk it, and I guarantee you they've jumped in way freaking worse weather than what
They
this
think
was.
it's because they were going to have an 84-year-old woman with them.
I don't know if they had that like in front of them looking at it. Maybe they did, but I don't know for sure. It could have been, could have been part of it, but they canceled. They went home for the day, and
Everyone was coming up, had a big barbecue planned,
yeah, it was a great day.
and old Mother Nature, plus the skydiving place.
So deflating.
All the jumpers were upset.
It's so deflating.
At the
I was so
barbecue.
excited and ready for it.
Yeah. So
But-
when are you rescheduling?
Well, just got to keep an eye on the weather. It's supposed to turn shitty for this week, obviously, and then it drops to 50 degrees on the weekends. So
Maybe it's getting really humid. Maybe that's what you're feeling. It's supposed to rain. Why isn't it raining yet?
it's not supposed to start till tomorrow.
No.
Tuesday,
people said
Wednesday,
tonight.
Thursday are the bad days. Thunderstorms and so on, and then it starts clearing up. But it's
So you think you can jump this weekend?
I don't know. I'm gonna give it till like Wednesday to really look before I call them again. But
That blows because there's a lot of planning to coordinate everyone's schedule to get up
I
there and
know.
stuff, right?
not that it, like Bill was saying, not that it probably matters, but I'd rather be jumping in sunny 75-degree weather than even sunny 50-degree weather, especially being up at 15,000 feet. It's got to be pretty
Yeah.
chilly moving at 120 miles an hour. But supposedly they say once you're out that window, you don't feel a thing because you're just grinning from ear to ear.
I'm sure you don't. I'm
and
sure you
You're
don't.
booking it.
You don't feel the cold.
Probably not.
It's probably a more extreme example of like when you're snowboarding and you're freezing your butt off on the lift.
yeah.
Freezing your butt off.
Yeah.
Like where icicle is forming in your nose hairs and stuff, right? But then you get on the downhill and you don't even pay attention. You don't
No.
even realize.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's pretty similar to that.
Probably much more extreme.
Yeah.
I mean, you're
And
falling.
you're only free falling for 10 seconds?
Probably at most. I mean, if you're moving, 120 miles an hour.
They don't tell you how long your free fall is?
No. I mean,
They
it's
didn't-
not like I
or they
asked.
didn't
Could
tell you?
probably, they could probably tell you, but it's not like we asked.
It
A
don't
free
seem
fall
like
as
a
long as you
enough.
free fall in.
Pull the chute.
No, it doesn't seem long enough. But Bill is telling me, which I don't know if I'm sure there's some truth to it, obviously, because he must have looked into it at one point. But once you're certified as a jumper, if you use their gear, it's only like $45 to go jump.
No.
Yeah, and if you have your own gear, it's only like $25 to just get up in the air and get dropped off.
What?
Yeah.
You gotta
Which-
schedule it though.
yeah, well, for sure. I could see it being addicting that way. That'd be fun as hell to travel like southern Utah and do one down there, and if you had the skill set and you were certified and
Yeah.
comfortable.
Yeah.
I imagine that first solo jump, though, is like still nerve-wracking as hell, even if you've
Oh,
been
I'm sure.
plenty of times in the iFly and
Become that guy. He's like the guest we're gonna have it next week. He's an extreme
yeah,
adventurer, does
I'm excited for that.
trail running and ultra marathons, rides motorcycles, wakeboards,
Probably whatever.
whatever.
Really.
Yeah, all kinds of stuff. So,
Yeah.
yeah, you could either be that guy, not you, but
Well, why not me?
well, you could. I'm just saying, like you could be that guy or you couldn't, and most of us aren't. That guy don't have kids.
No.
That's a big factor.
Yeah. Always makes it easier.
I've often wondered about this. Like those extreme athletes, those guys like that. The guy that you in your 20s, you're like, dude, I want to kayak and I want to rock climb and I want to, but you don't become that guy. And a vast majority of people do not become that guy or girl, right? But there are handfuls of people that do. But it's a very small percentage of the population.
Yeah.
Do you think it's supposed to be that way? Like if half your population was like that,
I think we'd all be a happier place, probably.
I think a lot less, maybe happier place, but I feel like the not the economics, but just the machine requires a certain number of people to just be the drones.
Is this what you tell yourself to feel better? Or?
No, because it don't make me feel better at all.
Okay.
But I think that I never include myself in those conversations.
Okay,
I'm always in this other little bubble.
Gotcha.
I'm in another
Yeah,
bubble.
I mean, I think, the social norms and so on have been conditioned through years, has this, blueprint for life and what it's supposed to look like in the stages of life. And, you go to school, possibly go to college, get married and have 2 kids and a white picket fence and the whole 9.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
there are those ones who, it's like Matty, my old buddy.
Oh, yeah.
He's just a single dude and takes his truck and goes all over. He's constantly all over the place. I don't know how he does it with work and stuff, but
I don't even feel like he has a job.
yeah, no, I think he does. I knew a while back he was working for like a, 3-day kitchen and bath type place where they just go in and remodel bathrooms real quick and stuff. And he's good at it. And I don't know if that's still what he's doing or not, but yeah, he's gone all the time in southern
Just out
Utah.
camping.
Yeah, hiking, camping constantly.
He's probably found some shit out there.
Oh yeah, some of his pictures are gorgeous on his Instagram.
Well, dude,
and
he
Facebook
sends you
and
that
shit.
video
Yeah.
of, like, where was he at? Escalante.
Yeah,
He's
Grand
up next
Staircase.
against some sort of canyon wall with trees around it.
And a little creek in the background.
Creek in the
and
background. He's playing
gotten
a flute.
real good at the flute too. I was impressed.
Sounds like a commercial,
It
dude.
does. Sounds like an actual flute track.
Yeah.
Sounded really good.
I can see, like, clean that audio up just a tidge, and I can see that because it's a still shot essentially, but it's not. It's
It's a recording.
it's a recording. But the idea of words coming, you can make a little quick inspirational thing out of that.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Pretty easily,
Yeah,
actually.
yeah. So you can be like that guy,
Yeah.
just out there.
There's something, at least from my perspective, in my chair. There's something
Just take a
very,
big breath.
very, jealous in a way, I guess you'd call it. But at the same time, like
That's so weird.
some nerves to be
Yeah.
doing it constantly by yourself.
You probably get used to it.
Yeah, I'm sure you would, like you do anything. But
He's got his dog.
yeah, I
A
think
man
so.
and his dog. He's gonna be one of those mountain men, dude.
Good for him.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Just lives up in a cabin somewhere.
Maybe.
Makes me want to take deep breaths as we're talking about him. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh yeah, deep breath. There's something about it sounds a little corny, but I always notice it. We get down to the desert or go camping, but the desert specifically, and you get like what if we're coming in the front way and we pull in, the first spring.
Right.
It's that first few breaths. I mean, because even when you're down there in the truck, but you're breathing recycled air, coming through the AC and the vents and shit like that. But those
And
first
4 hours of 4 dudes in a truck.
Oh yeah, 4
smell
hours of
and-
4 dudes in the truck. I'm saying even if you like roll down the window, but once you get out of the truck for the first time and you take those first few breaths, they seem different. They seem different than normal
It's all that juniper
breathing.
Mm-hmm.
All those things just coming into your nostrils, making you remember you're alive.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah, makes me want to close my eyes and hear some night hawks chirping.
Right.
Yeah.
I love those nighthawks. They're cool.
Man, I almost got one of those sleeping bags I texted you about.
Oh, did you? Why
Yeah.
didn't you? You don't need one.
So I didn't know this, but 3V Gear, right?
The bad guys?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They own like 3 other brands. A hydro filter brand,
Mm-hmm.
and then something tactical, like a gun, something to do with guns. It might be gun accessories like
Right.
rails and stocks and shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then this review. I don't know how to pronounce, but it's hammocks, sleeping bags.
Oh, that's cool.
And they were all there at this show, right? They had these cool backdrop displays, and I asked him how much they paid for them. They bought them overseas. These backlit LEDs, so it's fabric, but they're encased in like a 4-inch, shadow box.
Oh, right.
And they're pulled tight, and they're all cut at these funky angles. They're each individual components and pictures, and they turn them on, and they're just bright as shit.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they're awesome. I saw one like that down in Vegas last Christmas. It was a huge one. And I asked him, he's like, we paid $20,000 for all this. And I was like, holy cow. He's like, it takes like 5 hours to put together.
Holy crap.
And I'm like, dude. And then I thought, why couldn't you take just one of these pop-ups, right?
The scissor
the
pop-ups?
scissor pop-ups, and just backlight it. It may not look as cool because on the backside is another white piece of canvas.
Yeah.
That's really... But you could still do it.
I don't know. We'd have to just try. You probably could.
You could just retrofit that thing. Have something that comes back around on it, and the lights are inside.
I mean, without something to bounce the reflection off.
That's what I'm saying. Put some, you know what I mean? Make a back piece for it, basically.
Yeah, because otherwise you just see pinpoints of light.
Oh, I just figured it out. That's all you do. What you do is you get one done, and you're paying for the cage and the print work, and you just buy another, you just buy another, front Velcro piece. Anyway, so the sleeping bag was, it's like our other ones.
Right.
It's a extreme 0 degree,
Right.
but
So
like
40
a degree
comfortable.
bag.
Yeah.
But it's like this.
Really?
It's like this, and I'm like, and they're pretty nice and they're well built. And
When would you use it? You wouldn't take it.
dude, I'm not
our
happy
backpacking
with my
trips and
freaking climate. Sorry, climate.
What? Really?
Dude, 2 out of all of us that got them, 2 of them have been ripped already in one use.
Yeah.
Those freaking little seams and shit.
Because you guys got the XLs and cut me out of the XLs.
Be careful, bro. I'm saying.
And
Tyler's
so
ripped all the hell.
Mine's in good shape.
Yeah, just dude, it's in a weird spot. All it is, it's not against. It's a seam, but it's a stitch seam. It's almost like the material is so thin. It's like
just pulled
it got
through.
pinned in on both sides halves of the seam and just pulled apart. Is what it looks like. So shit, I don't know, but yeah, I just because it was so small, and then I started to go, oh, display wise, this would look cool because it's a gray.
Right.
It's a gray stuff sack. Anyway, I thought, man, how do they do this? Because I overheard the guy talking. And I went up to the guy at the bag, and he said he was, VP of marketing for them. And I go, so you guys own all these brands. I go, how's that work for you? And he's like, it doesn't. It's a horrible way to do it.
Really?
Yeah. He's like, because there's no more resources. It's the same people doing, now you're just doing it
For four
different brands.
entities.
Photo
Yeah.
shoots and this and that. And you're like,
Juggling it all.
yeah, different artwork, different branding, different colors, style guides and all that. Boy, that was a rabbit hole I just went down about nothing.
What were they charging for 'em?
Those sleeping bags, $30.
Damn.
That's what I'm saying.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, almost worth it just to have another sleeping bag.
Yeah.
You can't.
Yes, you can.
You can have too many.
Yes.
Think about it. If shit hits the fan, you can't.
Well, no, for sure. I mean, it's a resource, I suppose. But if you're packing up to go on a camp trip or something, you're usually taking old trusty just in case.
Which is that climate one?
Because I can always
Did
I can always get colder in a bag. I can't ever get warmer in a bag.
Yeah. Did I give my old 0 degree bag to somebody?
Your Black Pine or whatever it was?
It was a Cascade.
Or Cascade? I thought you let someone borrow it. Maybe you gave it to him.
I was explaining the zipper to somebody.
It would have been like Sean or...
Because I don't ever really want to get rid of that.
No, you got to keep those old trusty ones around like that.
Yeah. I got to find out where that went. I got to make a note.
It's like my old Black Pine double sleeping bag. I
Yeah.
will never get rid of that
Yeah, that
sucker.
thing's awesome. So comfy.
Oh, it's the best sleeping bag.
Yeah.
Especially if you're by yourself.
So hopefully a guest will pop up this week. And I talked to Lexi. I'm going to call her out right here. I talked to her about coming on and talking about, having a kid with cancer and stuff like that. And she's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, sweet. And then she's like, well, maybe not this. And maybe when you start it, you should say this. And I'm like,
No, you can't dictate the conversation.
No, I'm
okay?
like, you're not ready.
No.
You're just talking yourself out of it.
That's it. Now I'm going to blindside her with some real odd questions when she comes on next.
Yeah, man. Well, and we just need to get some more people. It doesn't matter who it is.
No, it doesn't. It's just what I've experienced, and personally, is kind of the same. A lot of people are initially like, yeah, but it's hard to get them through, and understandably so.
No, it's not. It's not understandable.
No pressure. I mean, it's comfort zone limits and stuff, and some people aren't comfortable pushing their comfort zone limits.
Yeah. I'm gonna Nate.
Come up, Nate.
Nate, come up because I want to do a podcast with you. Number 1, number 2, Nate with a bazillion followers on Facebook. Share our podcast, buddy. Do me a favor and just this one, share it.
Did you see that dude's
Yeah.
Spartan photos?
Yeah.
Nate, When are you gonna start aging, man? You need a woman in your
It's
life again to start getting old.
I'd say it's his Polynesian blood, but I mean, I've seen his brother.
Yeah.
Both of them, and they've aged.
That dude don't age. Whatever it is. He's found it. He's found
I
it.
know, man. He's doing something he's not telling no one about.
Yeah.
He discovered some sort of trick.
Yep.
He's a robot, dude. He's a robot.
He's something.
So, but share the podcast, Nate. Okay? Just share it out there so we get a few more listeners. Because we like to engage more people. All right, so tonight on Enter as Strangers, we have 0 topics. We're just another Winging It podcast. Nothing.
Any insights lately?
Yeah, I mean, I have some insights that pop in my head from time to time, and different ideas and concepts that we've talked about that I'm just kind of ruminating over and over in my head,
How's
But-
that going?
trying to catch smoke and stuff with it. It's like I can see the, how do you call it? I can see the solidifying of it, but I can't explain what that means. It's like having a concept and then trying to solidify the concept so it can
Through
become
what?
a practice.
Example or
Just
steps?
steps, or just create a ritual out of the concept or whatever, but solidify it to make it a practice is the best way I can put
Rituals.
it.
That's where it's at, dude.
Yeah.
Making rituals, different rituals.
Yeah, well, and I'm trying to get like I say, I'm trying to get it solidified, put it into practice. But I feel like my brain's going, you don't quite have it yet.
You got to do that before you share it.
That's what I mean. I can't put it into words, so to speak. Like I can't define what I'm talking about. So when you ask if there's any new insights or anything, it's, I guess no. The answer is no. I don't have any.
So
No
no,
insights.
just no.
Yeah.
Okay,
So the answer is just no.
fair enough. Fair enough. Well, if it comes to you, don't be shy.
Yeah. Yeah. It might come to me eventually.
I think you need to get still for a little while.
I think I'm almost too still is the problem. For sure.
Is that really a problem?
I mean, I'm definitely, maybe not too still, but I'm definitely not suffering from any lack of stillness.
I had an experience today. I'll share with you.
Okay.
So you've obviously been around me more lately than most people, and there's been some blockade the last week or so, right? Mm-hmm. We've experienced that in trying to record some podcasts here and there, but last week or so, just, like I said, there's been some blockade mentally and emotionally and so on. And anyways, through the process of everything, we've talked about the anxiety and stuff, and especially the anxiety I used to have years and years ago. That was pretty strong. But, there's just been this weird, subtle, not debilitating in any way, but just subtle knot in my chest. I can only visually correlate it around my heart. Heart's thumping a little harder. It feels like it's getting harder to catch my breath sometimes. It's just... Anyways, I found some, just stumbling, doing, random YouTube watching and stuff, and you're clicking videos and you're just going on an expedition essentially, and came across this gentleman's channel and started watching some of his videos. A lot of them are pretty short videos, 10, 15 minutes and so on, and I think his name was Aaron Dowdley, I think, something like that. And I don't know, they started resonating with me. I don't know if it's because of the age. He doesn't, he's probably around my age or so, but, had a lot of good insights and stuff, and was really resonating with me. So I just stayed on his page for a little while and watching some of his different videos, and he's got a ton of them. And it was awesome. A lot of them are resonating really, really well with me. And this one I came across was, I started out with them talking about, parallel universes. Mm-hmm. and the unlimited amount of parallel universes, through quantum mechanics and quantum theory and so on. And that, so he takes you on an actual guided meditation through this video, and asks you to set forth your intent and kind of guide you through it, through the whole process and the whole meditation, and shifting even just slightly to a parallel reality or a parallel universe.
That's
right?
the meditation? Is visualizing that?
Is visualizing that and putting your intent on what that shift looks like, and so on. And so I did it, and super relaxing. It was a really good meditation, and I know it sounds kind of silly and cliche or whatever, but came out of it, dude, and felt instantly better. And it felt like my reality had shifted just enough that my chest was gone. It's been gone the remainder of the day. I'm gonna, I want to keep doing this every day for a while and see how long it sticks and so on, because it's like everything else, it ebbs and flows. But it was awesome. It was so much so it was so profound for me in a way which ain't typically my style. Went and found him on Instagram and sent him a message and just kind of explained how his video affected me, and thanked him for sharing his content with the with the masses and so on. And it was really cool. It was a good experience, and it instantly changed the remainder of my day.
It did. It's like, it's just the idea that like all there is the relationship with yourself.
Mm-hmm. He talks a lot about that.
That's all that, it's just like it just clicked a little shift in the VR button.
He does a lot of talking about meditation, of course, and a number of other things, especially being with yourself, but he has a ritual where which makes sense when you think about brainwaves and different theta states and beta and alpha and delta and blah blah blah, right? That 15 minutes before bed is when he really gets his focus on gratitude and intent, because that's when your brainwaves are starting to slow down and you're getting into theta and beta states or delta states, which is the brainwaves that most directly impact your subconscious mind. Speak closely to it, or closest to it, and then, which I've been trying to meditate every day towards the morning, but he recommends first thing in the morning, which makes sense to me because your brainwaves are still now coming out in reverse from delta to theta to alpha and beta. So that makes a lot of sense, and something I want to try.
We'll try it.
I will. I just gotta wake up earlier, but I will.
The meditation thing, like instantly feeling better, is pretty cool. Like effect. Because I don't think I'd ever experienced it to the point of just this one simple time. At that time seemed to be the most pertinent time I'd ever experienced that moment. Just a little 8-minute meditation thing.
Right.
And it was from Richard Moss, the guy who wrote the Mandala of Being. Because once I read the book, I was like, this stuff's pretty good. And I'm like, let me see what else he has. So I signed up for his website. And the first thing I got was this guided meditation thing. And so sat down in my office and put it on and listened. And he tells you, okay, close your eyes. And he takes you through this thing. And then about halfway to 3/4 way through the meditation, he has you open your eyes and start looking around the room. And he's just talking. And it's just this crazy moment where everything seems so new, right? He's like, look at the, look at a power outlet. Or whatever he says. He's like, bring your attention to objects in the room. Mm-hmm. And see how your perception of those objects have shifted. But what you said there was pretty similar. Is like at that moment, after that moment was over, I was like, oh wow, that is whoa. There's a real centeredness here.
Yeah.
On it. But the other day I was standing in my kitchen, and do you ever get I have 2 questions for you based on what you brought up about the meditation and all that stuff.
Okay.
Do you ever get moments, like maybe it's through something like that or something you read, or just maybe it hits you in the middle of the day when you're really not paying attention, where you feel like you catch a little glimpse of light through the veil? Like the idea that the illusion we create for ourselves about everything in life, what we tell about ourselves, what we tell about other people, that like the curtains shift and just for a moment there's a little gap in the curtains through to the truth. Right. I keep getting this sense, it's like like a glimpse through the veil. I don't know any other way to explain this, but I keep getting this sense that it is so simple, right? Which people say all the time. It's so simple. And I'm like, been listening. Rogan's had a lot of like nutritional guests on, like two halves, like a vegan and a meat eater, and then these different halves of the whole. And so a lot of the content I've listened to lately is all around kind of diet, nutrition, and exercise and stuff like that. And it's in my ear. It's been in my ear for 6, maybe 9 hours of different podcasts. And it started to make me my brain kind of click and just go, yeah, man, just do it. Just do that.
I think nutrition has a huge effect on us in so many different ways.
No, of course it does. Yeah, it's more than you can even imagine. I mean, people have straight up and gotten rid of some serious things just by changing their diet, like serious ailments, like chronic problems just by changing their diet.
And mental, even mental states and stuff.
Oh no, psychological states like schizophrenia.
Huge. Oh yeah. This gentleman I was listening to, I think, said, I had like ADHD or some form of autism, and changing his diet. In fact, he kind of lists out these 5 things to give up immediately to change your life. And one of them is let go of foods that don't serve you, which for me has always been, not that it's necessarily hard, but has been hard to commit to it, to that radical food change, diet change.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's not.
But there's so much information out there. Sometimes it's like,
it's overwhelming.
Which way do you go, through keto or vegan or carnivore?
Carnivore.
Where do you start, and what might be the best? And I think, and he kind of touched base on it. I've had this story for years, and I think a lot of people can relate. Maybe not a story, but how it's like kids. When you eat, you get tired. It seems like you're getting tired.
Yeah.
You get tired pretty quick, because your body is having to work so hard and spend so much energy on processing that food because it's not serving you. Yeah. So I'm going to start paying attention to how I feel immediately after I eat.
Yeah.
And if it does something like that, I'm going to cut it out. I had a great little turkey roast beef sandwich for lunch today. Nothing. Felt great.
Right.
Felt great. But eat something else and
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard a lot of those different, One thing I was hearing, he's like a Olympic silver medalist or whatever, bodybuilder, but he's also like a doctor, younger guy too. He was on the podcast, but he said something that was really poignant, right? He said that studies show, both in like rats and in humans, show that if you diet and you lose a bunch of weight, right, you'll gain that weight back faster each time you lose it.
Right. It makes sense to me.
Because evolutionarily, your body is changing. Mm-hmm. And you have to stay at to keep the weight off, you've got to stay at a certain baseline long enough.
Right.
Because your body says, oh no, we don't want to go through famine again. It's a major, eating or dying of starvation were the 2 main survival mechanisms.
I think it's the same as like smoking and drug addiction. Same thing. You try and quit for a minute and you might be successful for a week or 2, but when you start, you go back heavier and faster.
Yeah.
And you get deeper into it because of the same reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. But anyway, what I was kind of getting at is that they had like the way of eating that seems, now everyone's different. These guys are all like, it's so individual.
I imagine what you're trying to accomplish too, if it's body mass or weight gain or
Well, they had one guy there's a huge ketogenic guy, right?
Right.
And I've listened to a lot of different podcasts on that subject, and it's interesting because he talks about, and he's a doctor, and this other guy, there's 2 of them on him. He talks about the cognitive abilities, right? That the ketogenic diet helped him get his degree quicker, because basically what when you put your body in a state of ketosis, your body learns how to burn fat instead of carbs and sugars and stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's keeping you lean, but it also limits your cravings and stuff. So you don't have the requirement. Your brain doesn't go, we need to eat. So you can go longer times without meals, but without losing of cognitive ability. This guy super nerds out.
Wow.
And he tracks everything that he does.
Could you do a keto diet?
You ever heard of the keto flu?
No. I
So,
haven't.
like, people that really do the keto diet, they'll check their ketones. They do these piss strips or they actually have breath strips that will tell you if you're in ketosis. But everybody's so different, right? But they will tell you that you have to be on it for it to really have an effect on you. You got to be on it for like 4 to 5 months,
Yeah.
right? But the keto flu is when your body is changing what it burns. You get flu-like sick. Most people quit because it.
Is it
makes
a
them-
speed thing, like changing too rapidly?
No, it's just
Or
a matter
just
of
just
your
a
body's
part of the process.
Yeah, I imagine it's probably the same as if you're doing an extreme cleanse or something. You just get really sick because your body is
Going into shock. Pretty much.
well, and it's changing. It's kind of rebooting in a way. Is
Right.
kind of how I picture it. But yeah, eating is everything, which is probably the most difficult thing. But again, it's simple. Those things are simple. We just make them really hard.
Yeah, we do. Just our story we've got in our heads, you know.
Do you think we choose to suffer?
I don't think anyone necessarily consciously chooses to suffer, but
Do you
yes,
think
we
we
choose.
unconsciously choose to suffer?
Absolutely, yeah.
I mean, there's obvious examples of people who don't feel they deserve to be happy,
Yeah, for sure.
and so they will self-sabotage everything. I think we all know people like that, right?
Yep.
But I just was wondering, it's the idea that, like, tell me that whether you have or have not experienced this in life, is that when something that you would perceive as negative happens to you, and it's a major thing, whatever it is, right?
Sure.
Doesn't it seem like, for me, it's like I keep running into the same lesson over and over with it.
Yeah.
That one big thing, it's like, again?
Yep.
Have you ever had the thought, one day when I was just wrestling with why? It's like the whole, why does this keep happening to me? Mm-hmm. And the thought hit me was that on some other energy form, past life, different VR goggles, I was a real asshole or something. I was on the other side of that coin, right? Instead of being the victim, I was the victimizer in another life. And so as a universal balance, you've got to, like, live, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like the old, you know, you must have been a real dick in your past life or something. You know, it's kind of a cliche term or whatever, but I mean, I suppose, I don't know, you know. I can't say my brain goes there very often. That's not where my thoughts go to, that aspect of it.
But
It's so tricky though, dude, because
they don't go to childhood though either.
they have been more and more that
Really?
we've been doing this, and I've been able to start chasing some kite strings down and remembering things, you know, just through conversation. But I mean, it all comes down to our childhood. Plus, a lot of the information I've been watching and stuff, you know, it's your subconscious mind is developed between like ages 4 and 7.
Okay, but you've been diving into the whole subconscious thing quite a bit, as far as like stuff you've been reading and listening to
Yeah.
and all that. Is it making a difference? Being
Yes.
aware of that?
I mean, it's so hard to know, you know, because it's that
It's like a
conscious
weird
versus
trick.
yeah, it is. It could be an illusion as well.
Yeah.
But if it's working, it's working, regardless of what the illusion is, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think it's especially with. I mean, think of how long you've been running on your subconscious mind. I mean, always, obviously, but those limiting beliefs and those limiting stories, you know, that you're not even aware of because they are subconscious patterns and conditions.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes time to reprogram. It's not like you fall asleep and wake up thinking,
No.
"Oh, I'm gonna," you know.
Well, and here's to really fucking complicate it. Now throw diet in there, right? Meaning that you were just talking and it totally triggered something that I heard. Right? Guy was vegan, strong vegetarian, in and out of veganism, right? And his moods would swing, and he basically was diagnosed as being like a bipolar, right?
Right.
His moods would swing forever. He traveled all over the world and stuff, and he would be down. And when something happened, he'd get down, he'd stay down. And he described it as he started to learn to be, because he contemplated that. How much of this is, you know, like what's going on? Why am I depressed? It's all chemical. I'm just chemically imbalanced, you know, is kind of where his thought was going and stuff like that. But he understood his process, and he knew when he was down that he just had to deal with it and face it because he didn't want to medicate it, right? And so
Write it out.
just write it out, and he
Yeah.
knew eventually he'd come back up and boom, right? But then he also started to get physically sick. And he was like, hey, that's enough. I got to figure out what's causing this. Because it was almost like every time he came out of a depression, he would get physically sick, like his body immune system was worn down. Anyway, long story short, he realized that, I mean, this is a devout vegan, right? He needed to eat meat. Protein changed everything for him. And not just getting protein from plant proteins or, any of that stuff. Red meat. There were certain... I'm always using the wrong term, but whatever molecular things are in red meat, his brain needed.
Enzymes and all sorts of
his
different
brain
crap,
needed.
I'm sure.
It fixed his health issues. It fixed his depression issues because he started eating meat. And he said it took him a while to really wrestle with this, but he ultimately knew no ideology is worth, my well-being.
Yeah, for sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Definitely not. So
now he's an advocate, and he's like, some people aren't like that. Some people can be fine, but he goes, there's a lot. He's done polling and research because he's a scientist too now, and he said that he has found a direct correlation. There's more people that are vegetarian, right, are more suffer from more depression issues than in a certain
age group or
I can't remember what the control was. But it flips. People that eat healthy, right? Because there's a big difference between processed meats and non-processed meats.
Yeah, and grass-fed. And
but even then, the carnivore diet will tell you that it doesn't really matter. You got to stay away from processed foods, though, right? That's that whole debate about red meat being bad for you.
Right.
Processed red meat is really bad for you, but not necessarily red meat, right? Anyway, but it flips when you get to a level of unhealthy eating, right? A lot of fast foods, a lot of processed stuff. Then you're back into where that depression lies. So there's a sweet spot.
Yeah. It's a balance.
Which is crazy, right? That it's a balance.
Like everything.
And I didn't know this, but years ago the FDA came out with, or not the FDA, but different groups came out with these reports that red meat was bad for you.
Right.
Caused the high cholesterol and all this stuff. But they never segmented what people were eating with that red meat and whether it was processed red meat or not.
Right.
But basically that there's there's a term for these kind of vegetables, but broccoli is one of them. Certain kinds of lettuce are it too, or whatever. But they have enzymes in them because there's carcinogenic properties of red meat.
Sure.
And red meat causes cancer. That was the big thing.
Yeah.
Not heart disease. Anyway, but that there's certain elements of certain vegetables that restrict and break down when you eat them with red meat. They break down. So just this weird balance. It's almost like nature is telling us, right? On these, they call them microbiotic vegans and vegetarians and stuff, or whatever. But anyway, it's like whenever I heard this, I'm like, oh man, it's like nature's telling you need the balance of both kinds of things.
I think
you know what
so.
I'm saying?
I mean,
because I don't know what I'm trying to get with that. But do you know any hardcore like vegans or vegetarians?
Nope, can't say that I do.
Yeah, the stat is like 96% of the world eats
can't
meat.
Say that I do.
Yeah.
I think it's just like everything else. It's that balance zone, and you just got to find what works and what serves you, because everyone is different, Yeah.
Well, the reason that, like, what caught me interesting is, what caught me off guard was, like, from the outside, because a friend actually suggested to him, he's like, dude, you're depressed, you're sick all the time. Human evolution, you evolved to eat meat, and you're sitting here depressed, and you haven't even considered that it's your diet, that you're lacking something in your diet.
I think
we just
that's
get used
pretty.
to it.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty natural human mindset, really. Being mindset.
Yeah.
Is,
Why do I feel like this?
Yeah,
It's
you
just
don't
the way
really
it
take your
is.
diet into consideration most of the time, especially with like a depression thing. We don't correlate the two. When there's a lot of science and research out there now that really backs up the correlation between mental health and so on.
Yeah. Eating right's hard, though.
It is, and it can be expensive too if you're eating that kind of stuff, and that's probably part of the problem. It can be pretty pricey. And
yeah. But I mean, even, because here's the thing, even just, or this is how my brain works, cooking your meals every night, right, is more healthy than cooking a meal twice a week? The idea, because if you're, what are you filling in between, right? You're going out to eat.
No, sure it is. I mean, it's probably way better.
The idea that, like, if you have, even if you go to the grocery store and whatever, grass fed or not, you get a piece of chicken, you get some vegetables, you cook up a dinner, you eat it. It's better for you than a lot of shit.
I think I want to try it. I never have, but I've heard of a lot of people and know some people that really meal prepping for the week, where you buy a good.
It's tough.
It is tough, and it takes a lot of work, but especially when you're buying organic stuff.
How
and
detailed
healthier
of a
stuff.
meal prep are you talking though? Because I guess I kind of do that. I go, okay, I'm gonna pork chops this night with some green beans.
Well, I've always done that, but where you're actually preparing everything in container, and getting it actual prep, because a lot of that, fresh stuff goes bad so quickly because it doesn't have the preservatives and shit that are causing all the issues.
Yeah.
So you've got to use it quick, and so the best thing to do is to meal prep them and freeze and so on.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, it'd probably save you some good coin.
You know what?
In the
I
long
bet
run.
you. Now that I think about it, I bet you. You've heard of Blue Apron, right?
Sure.
I bet you
I did
there's
it for a while.
Yeah, subscription box out there that makes eating healthy really easy.
Oh, probably. Those are actually great meals,
know.
and they are pretty healthy. They're portioned just right, so you're not overeating, and they're not terribly expensive if you're doing one or two.
I hear they're delicious.
They are really good. I enjoyed them. They were really good.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe that's the route to go.
Especially if you're a single dude, man.
Yeah.
And you're feeding yourself mainly most of the time.
Especially if you're a single dude, man.
Well, I guess I don't know how often you feed Layla and so on and the kids, but it can get pricey if you're
I feed them.
doing a full family.
I mean, I try to feed them as much as they need to survive, but
I don't mind going to the grocery store and stuff and buying what I need.
yeah,
I just click list that shit anyway, so it won't matter.
I know. That's the way to do it.
It's the greatest thing ever, dude.
I know.
It really is.
I can't do it anymore.
Why?
Well, if I want Lexi's 20% discount,
Oh.
you can't. You have to be in store. You have to actually scan your
Well,
card.
that's probably worth 20% to go
Yeah,
to the
it's
stores. Especially
actually,
for food.
dude,
Food's
pretty-
way pricey.
Yeah, especially now. I swear, food prices are going up
Yeah, it is like everything else.
for the winter. What are you doing this winter? Podcasts?
Shit, I got no clue, man.
You say that like you're supposed to have some clue.
Yeah, I mean, not that I ever have a clue going into winter, but this is going to be a different winter. Hopefully getting into a place, my own place soon enough
Yeah.
before winter hits hard. Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to get back into some winter sports and so on, but again, the cost of like any of those extracurricular activities nowadays is just ridiculous. $90 for a lift ticket and shit.
That's why you got to do stuff like this.
Yeah.
I've been trying to think of other stuff. Now,
I'll get back into indoor stuff, fixing the house up and, painting and so on, I think. Been wanting to get back into painting again. Be a good winter thing to do.
I'm really trying to think of, because I've been playing the guitar more lately.
Yep.
Right? Just jamming
That
stuff.
too.
Trying to write stuff. And it's this low rumbling feeling. I call it the low rumbling feeling of, change or whatever it is. Kind of looking at things a different way. I still don't, it's not like I'm the happiest dude every day, but it's like I can hear the train coming behind me, the freight train that's going. And I think that, like, obviously having projects are little things to do, but I try to find, like, Sunday, I've done a couple shows the last 2 weekends, so I didn't have my normal. Sunday I like to do things like do some laundry, clean my house, stuff like that.
Right.
But Sunday, and I was worn out from a Friday, Saturday show, but Sunday, man, I had that feeling of just lay around all day, right? Mm-hmm. But then that little tinge of anxiety that comes with that. I'm like, nah, just get up and do stuff, dude. Deep clean the house. Got done with that and was like, no, go do this. No, go do that. Like, just to keep, I guess, myself busy. Mm-hmm. Do you do that?
I'm naturally a busybody. Always have been. but I do, distract or stay busy, and distract might be a bad word because it sounds like you're, hiding from something in a way, but I'm trying to, and have gotten better over the years, but that's one thing I'm trying to get better at is being okay on those days you decide to go, nope, I'm not doing it today. And truly accepting it and not having that anxiety or that resistance to it. And if that's what you're doing, that's what you're doing. Still make it a present moment idea.
Yeah. So like slowing down.
Right.
Because you were talking about that to me the other day about slowing down even your pace.
Yep.
Your breathing.
Which has been helpful.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, it's shockingly upsetting in a weird way to me when I do slow down and I go, what am I doing? Like that breath I just took there like a couple seconds ago, I don't often breathe that way, and it feels so much better than the contrast of the
There's
tension,
so
movement.
much power in the breath, and
It's everything.
It's life.
Breath is life.
Breath is life. But do that. I mean, if you haven't already.
What?
Next time you're going into Walmart or the grocery
Slow
store
down.
or wherever you're
In
going.
Walmart, I'm always like a bolt of lightning.
I know.
Dude.
But as you're walking through the parking lot to get to the doors, do
What?
slow almost half pace and feel it.
I feel like I'll look funny.
No, you'll be okay. You can walk slow and look normal. Maybe 3/4 pace then. But
Yeah.
no, it's weird how your mind is so used to doing something it's always done the same way it's always done it, and you switch it up, how much attention gets diverted directly to it. And when I do, I start feeling my heels, heel to toe, roll more precisely in the ground underneath it.
Technique for putting yourself in the now.
Yeah.
Agreed?
For sure.
Okay.
Totally.
Another one that is big, and I don't think I've always thought about this, but we've never said it, but I found this very helpful. I used to do it a lot more, but feel things.
Like through touch, you mean?
Texture.
Yeah.
Trace something. Feel the object. Bring your awareness to it. It really does, especially like if you happen to be outside and you're standing by a tree maybe, just run your finger down the bark. You know what I'm saying?
I always like the grass. Feet or hands,
Oh,
just
yeah.
the top of the grass where it's almost tickling the palm. Just feeling it.
Yeah.
It's a total now exercise. It's cool.
Yeah. So those are both great. I think yours is probably a little bit more
Practical.
practical. Not even practical. I
Yeah.
think it's more powerful.
Yeah.
Of a now moment. You know what I'm saying? But putting yourself in the now.
Yeah.
Because that's what bringing it back full circle to that video you watched and that guided meditation is you are stepping into the now.
Yeah.
I wish we didn't have to use these terms.
They're the terms we know or that have been
Yeah, but
taught
even
to us as
would
well.
if we made up our own term for stepping into the now, like if we said, okay, being in the biz, that means being in the now. Does it mean any less? I mean, is it just as cheesy as saying stepping into the now? I don't know why I have such a word caught up on
You have been caught up on them.
words.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm tired of bullshit, dude. And I can't figure out if I'm tired of bullshit just because I'm a cranky old guy who doesn't get enough sleep, or if I'm tired of bullshit because of all this stuff,
Right.
all the awareness stuff. Give me the answer. Which one is
It's
it?
probably more this than it is
This thing.
cranky old guy.
This thing.
Yeah, this
Wink,
thing.
wink to Bill.
Yeah, this thing.
I can't.
What do you think it is? Are you frustrated with the information and putting it into use and getting results,
No.
or
It's
you're
like
frustrated with everyone else's bullshit around you because of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I experienced that.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because of it or if it's because I'm just a grumpy old man.
No, it's because of it.
Because, dude, like, it's weird. It's this weird I forgot about this, but I've been diving deep back into awareness. That's the whole point, right?
Yeah.
And the podcast is a big part of that.
Yeah.
And I was talking to a friend the other day, and just in speaking, I was like, oh, I realized something on my own. I'm rambling something off, and I'm like, oh, there you go, dumbass. You just gave yourself the answer that you're giving to somebody else, right? But I also find that it's like there's a quickening, and like I'm getting frustrated way quicker, easier. whether it's in traffic or whatever. But at the same time, all this, it's like this weird shift that you got to go through to get to stillness. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. I think it's a combination of things. I think it's a balance, and your scale is tipped way up this way because of how involved with awareness you've been in feeding your mind and so on, that the ego is fighting that much harder to bring things back into balance.
He's like,
and so you are getting triggered easier with certain things.
Like traffic is triggering the shit out of me.
Well, traffic is just getting worse and worse. But I think, yeah,
I get what you're saying though. That's just it. The ego is fighting back.
It's battle. It's life and death for it.
Because I sit there and I immediately catch myself and go, okay, dude, but I can't calm down. Like, I'm aware of it and I can pull myself back a little bit, but I can't get myself, okay, dude, just calm down.
You gotta forgive yourself.
I guess that's it.
You do.
I guess that's it.
I've been big on this forgiveness thing lately and looking into it a little more and feeling it in just personal experience.
Whoa, dude, that maybe makes sense.
But forgiving yourself
in the moment?
In anything.
Even
dude.
when it's involving someone else?
Yeah, absolutely. And not only if it is involving someone else, that resistance to that somehow having an effect on you when it really doesn't, and not forgiving them, but that's their truth and accepting their truth just as you accept your own truth.
So let me give you a real world example, an actual event, and you tell me if with what you're saying I'm perceiving this the right way, the way I should approach this. I should have approached this.
Sure.
Super early in the morning, driving with Lexi down to Smith's. She needed a ride down there, so I gave her a ride down there. And of course it's super early in the morning is one thing, but we're driving and was it in the morning? I can't even remember. It doesn't matter. I could tell I was in that mode of
irritation.
Yeah, I'm gonna just be quiet because I need to, stay cool. She says something that is not really anything, but it triggers me. Mm-hmm. And now she's not saying nothing, right? And I'm still being quiet. Get a little bit closer, and then I'm just like, why? What? And then she's like, and then she gets out of the car all pissed off, and I drive away all pissed off. Mm-hmm. And in that driving away moment, I'm like, oh, she just doesn't understand. I know she doesn't need to understand, but I'm making all these excuses, but I feel like shit. And I feel like shit, not because I feel like I've been wrong necessarily, because I'm a dick, right? And she may very well have been a dick too.
She probably was.
Right, but it doesn't matter.
No, after you left and you're driving down the road.
But I tried to shake it.
How far down the road before you went, oh, fuck? Or did you?
No, I did. I did pretty quick. Because I was so worked up, I went, pull it back a little, dude. And then I went, it was like, 3 minutes later, after she got out of the car, I was like, ugh, fuck. But it didn't make me feel any better. No,
and I think that's where forgiveness comes in, because I have experienced it a bunch myself, where a situation has happened and you do recognize it, hopefully at least, even a brief period afterwards, and go, holy shit, like, this is nothing in the grand scheme of things. Is this really the feeling I want me to have and I want my partner or someone else to have that I'm close with? Yeah. And, that's where sometimes maybe guilt's too strong of a word, but you get down on yourself, you beat yourself up, or our own worst critics and so on, but that forgiveness to yourself.
Well, I think that's the missing element, because I was like, okay, I thought that exact thing. This doesn't matter, dude. Quit. Right? And trying to shake it off, but then I just still felt shitty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I still felt shitty.
Resistance to it.
Well, because I didn't probably forgive myself, is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I have noticed that, especially towards other people, and it's that ego screaming out that if someone else is getting pissed, I'm giving less of a shit. right? Mm-hmm. Which I don't like that feeling because it doesn't feel very empathetic or compassionate. But I also recognize it as a temporary state. You know, it's like, well, you're just gonna have to be mad because I don't really care. You know what I mean?
Well, I think there's probably a better way to go about it.
Well, of course there is. That's not a good
I mean,
way to
I'm
go
not
about
I'm
it.
not a pro at it either, but you know, it's definitely a practice. It's kind of like Dyer always says, you know, with how much resistance to other people's opinions and stuff we have, and how we're just walking around looking to be offended by shit for whatever reason because we're dumb. We're just looking to be offended, and you know, taking that moment to go, you know, that's an interesting perspective. I never thought of it like that. And truly being open-minded to things, and even arguments and so on, which is so hard in the moment because we're so conditioned to react and defend and so on. But it's just another thing to keep practicing, of course, like it all is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I watched this TED Talk once. This lady gave a presentation, and I've only got a very small blippet of it left in my memory. But she was talking about compassion and forgiveness, especially in a intimate setting, you know, a relationship setting and so on. I don't know, her and her husband were getting in this big fight, and she was angry at him, you know, as I'm sure we can all relate to and stuff. And he stopped her and said, "Hey, look at this. You know, you're so angry at me right now, you forgot how much you love me." And it instantly just neutralized the situation to her and stuff and brought that awareness back, which is so true. You forget all of those things in those moments.
Yeah.
You forget the love and the joy and the, you know, the good things.
Well,
In those moments of anger and frustration, and you feel justified in your anger and your frustration.
I think that is very true and common, but I never feel justified very long.
No, as
Personally,
you shouldn't, hopefully.
I'm always really quick to go, that was so stupid.
I mean, you're entrenched pretty thick if you hold the justification for a long time going, nope, I'm still justified because of this reason or whatever.
But people do.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're surrounded by
Just move
it.
that mic a little forward. When you talk, you probably can't hear it, but it
I don't
echoes.
think I want to.
It just there's an echo
Echo.
in the background. Yeah, when you said people are always looking to be offended, that's a great little like gas meter, you know, to see which side of the, you know, tank you're on, I guess, is to be like, how much of your day do you spend looking for problems or verbalizing problems, meaning, well, that's probably going to happen or this is probably going to happen, and how much of your day do you spend like try to be aware of it and
Well,
go,
you had said it earlier, which I was going to catch you on for a minute, but you're having those cycles and those thoughts of, why does this keep happening to me?
yeah, I'm not feeling that lately, but
that's a big one for a lot of people, personally, and I think a lot of people can relate to, why does this keep happening to me?
yeah.
And that thought is so...
What's weird is not the big time I questioned that, I wasn't really feeling like victim level. Why does this keep happening to me? It was more like, I don't know, academic.
But it's still words and it's still thought.
No, I know. I was like, okay, why does this, like, legitimately, why does this keep happening? What am I doing in my life? How am I living that this keeps happening? Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And then I probably had the easy cop out and went, oh, it's just something I did in my previous life. It's not nothing I'm doing now.
Right.
It's not nothing I have any control over.
Right.
You know what I mean? But yeah, I did say it earlier. You're right. You're definitely right.
And what's the old adage? I know you've heard it 100 times.
You are what you eat.
Well, that too.
Right.
But it's not happening to you. It's happening for you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's kind of, yeah. It's like just say one more positive thing in a day than you say a negative thing. That's it. Say one more thing that's positive.
Yeah, baby steps. I mean, that make a huge difference.
Yeah.
Gratitude, dude. I think gratitude, as always, and we've heard it forever, gratitude is the key, I think.
Okay, let's.
A feeling of gratitude, and a true feeling of gratitude. Not writing in your journal going, I'm grateful for the sky and the sun and the
Right.
warm weather outside, but taking a moment to really sit in that feeling of gratitude
Right.
as you do it.
Right.
And expand that vibration, that energy level.
Okay, well then let's try something. Can you think of something that you've got coming up in the next little while for yourself that you don't know what the answer is going to be? It's not really dependent on you, but you're either going to get a yes or a no or something, or you're going to maybe have to do X or Y for work. Is there something coming up in your life that you don't really know what's going to be, but
I know something's coming.
But one way it's going to be good, and one way you're probably going to be either disappointed or upset or angry if it happens that way?
Nothing I can think of off the top of my head, at least. I mean, there's probably lots of open-ended things coming my way that I'm not sure of.
Right. Let's look at the idea that, like, if you're, the idea of if you need to, for whatever reason, you're applying for a loan, and you don't know if you're going to get it, right? And if you get it, it's great news because you need it and you have some plans. But if you don't get it,
then what?
Like, shit, I'm upset.
Sure.
Right?
And I can put that to the house scenario right now for me.
The house scenario. Okay, so you've probably exercised, well, if I don't get this, then this will suck and this will suck, and then I got to deal with this and I got to deal with that, right? Have you done that? Basically what I'm saying is like, it doesn't hurt anything to just be like, no, it's going to work out. I'm going to get it. That's going to happen. It's exactly.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, why not? What do you got to lose, really?
Right, exactly. Why is that so hard for people, though?
Because the ego is a son of a bitch. Your subconscious mind is a powerful.
It just wants to be. It wants to punish.
It wants to be in control. It wants to keep you small and keep you hidden from the power that really resides.
That's what I'm saying. That glimpse through the veil. Today I had that. I was like, there was like this spark of a thought. I could do whatever. I could just do whatever. I could just do whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And then it quickly, like, the veil closed again. You know what I'm saying? Like,
that's how strong that subconscious and that ego is, man. It's you go back in those limiting beliefs, like, who strong.
Who tripped on the curtain? God damn it! Stop messing with the veil.
Yeah, right. I think that's why you keep having to feed the mind in practice and so on.
Yeah, but just being positive about it's gonna work. It is so fucking draining when you deal with somebody who's always expecting the worst to happen.
No, for sure. Absolutely.
Especially if you're not wired that way.
I get it.
It's the worst, dude.
I get it. I mean, it's an energy field. You can feel it. If you're paying attention, you can feel it.
It's demotivating, and it keeps you in a holding pattern of not really solving your problem. Just waiting, and maybe the problem, maybe you find a solution, but you lose energy.
I think it's a number of factors, man. It's like they say, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with the most, right? I've been thinking about that more and more lately. Yeah, you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang out with the most, and I totally believe it. And
I always thought as a teenager that the more I hung out with Nate, the more I inflected like him. In words, I would say, or the inflection in my voice.
I'm sure, yeah,
right?
Absolutely,
that happens, right?
Same as you're a product of your environment. Same diff, really.
But the 5 people you hang out with the most,
you spend your most time.
That is a mind fuck. Because I got to sit here and think, who are the 5 people I spend the most time with?
I don't know if I have 5 people I spend.
That's what I'm saying, but there is. What are the 5?
Right.
What are the 5? I mean, you'd have to be on my list.
Yeah.
I'm writing them down here. I mean, you look at just right now, what's going on right now?
I suppose so.
Because if, let's say I haven't been around someone
is there any
for
other time,
2 months. No. If I haven't been around someone for 2 months, right? Am I still the sum total of that person that hasn't been around for 2 months?
Probably to a degree.
But I spent the last few years with?
Probably to a degree. But I'd say more so in your current.
But you have to be in a current relationship with them long enough for it to actually affect you, because it doesn't just happen. I
don't know. I mean, I think it could happen pretty quick. Again, it's all energy and vibration.
I mean, And you count your kids? You have to.
I wouldn't think so. I think.
The sum total of 5 people you hang out the most.
I mean, I suppose so.
You'd have to.
Depending on the age, but there's like this.
Boy, so mom's in your 5.
Yeah.
So's dad.
No.
So you spend more time with mom than you do with dad, because there's another person. If mom's 4th, then there's a 5th squeaking in there before dad.
I'm sure there's probably other people I spend more time with than mom and dad between work.
So maybe more time is a vague. Yeah, it's a vague. You're the sum total. Maybe a better way to say it is you're a sum total to the 5 people that you spend the most something time
or your
with.
closely connected to.
Dang. So did you list out 5 people?
No. Mm-mm.
Why not?
I just haven't gotten that far yet.
That's a real exercise, man.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you fit in there then? Then you're never you? You're always a sum total of those 5 people?
Well, you're still always you. But those 5 people have the biggest effect on you as far as your
so they maybe
energy
equal
and your thoughts.
75% of who you are, and you're the other 25%.
Why not? Sure, let's go with that. I like it.
I told you, dude, I have to have visuals.
Quit trying to hang on to
Now
everything.
I'm drawing a visual.
Overthinking it.
That's not how I'm not overthinking it. It's how I process it so I can let it go. Yeah.
That's one of this gentleman's 5 things you must let go. Let go of people who bring you down,
Vampires. I call them vampires.
Who don't serve you. Bloodsuckers.
Yeah, vampires. They're vampires. People you don't need. Easier said than done, though.
What's your opinion on this? I've said this for a lot of years to people close to me, at least, and they don't. I don't know. Not that there's been resistance to it, but hasn't been much open-mindedness either. Music in TV.
Okay. What about it?
How big of a role do you think music and TV play in our subconscious programming and our thought patterns?
I think it depends on the individual, but I think a lot more than you would think it would. And I will give you an example of that, okay? A very simple example that I know for myself, but I still don't do it right, is if I'm working, let's say I'm designing something, working on a design, if I put music on, right, it lifts me up. Whatever music I'm putting on, it actually makes me more productive, okay? If I put something on, if I have Netflix on, running in the background, even if I'm not really watching it, I'm just listening to that, it slows me down.
Well, that I can understand because you're trying to pay attention to a TV show. There's a plot you have to follow.
Right.
Music is just music you're just listening to.
So
but
do you think it not?
No, I think it does, but it's more about the quality of it. It's like watching an inspirational documentary versus watching a horror movie.
Of course,
or whatever.
Of course.
Listening to rap versus, classical music or whatever it might be. The vibration of those.
Yeah. I mean, I think they've done studies that show
I'm sure they
types of
probably
music
have. I'm sure they
different
probably
effects
have.
on
But
cognitive.
it just, I've always... That's why I've always been kind of conscious about the music I do listen to on a regular basis. But, exes and so on will bump the hip-hop and rap, with the kids around. And I've always had a problem with that,
Me too.
especially when they're young.
Me too.
That...
My problem has nothing to do with... This is going to sound crappy, but I don't... I like hip-hop and I like rap.
Yeah, I do too.
A lot.
I do too.
But for me, its value lies in a different category. Because short of some real genius, maybe a few Eminem songs, and obviously I'm not very cultured into all the music that's out there.
Sure.
But just in my opinion, especially radio play hip-hop, right? Because the girls like to turn that on and listen to it. And I'll say to them, I'm trying to figure out a way to say this. It doesn't sound totally like whatever, but there's no...
Artistic.
No, it's artistic. I don't want to take the artistry away from it, but it's not music. It's music. I know that sounds. I don't know how to.
And maybe this, and I don't know if this explains or not. That's one of the reasons I love Eminem, or anybody who does it. Jason Mraz does it a lot. Lyricists, not music people, but they are lyricists. They take you on a story, a journey through their music. I think that's why they are so popular, especially in Eminem. He's such an amazing lyricist, and the way he can structures his songs and the information, and puts it together. It's not so much the beat for me. I mean, there are good songs that have good beats and so on, but I love listening to the words and the lyrics through it.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it is. I don't know. I tell you what, I don't listen to music enough. I
don't either.
It's one of those things that I know I should do, like a lot of other things, but I don't do it, even though I know the positive effects it has.
Right.
Right? Which is listening to more music.
Mm-hmm.
Listening to more music. Because it is, I don't know, takes you above thought most times, I think.
I mean, depending on the song.
Music. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those therapeutic things in a way, which I don't do nearly enough, which I probably should start. Just going out on, out west, out on the dark road at night or whatever, and just jamming some tunes and you're just singing your guts out.
Yeah.
How much release and high vibration there is in that, and joy.
That's what I was saying.
Feels good.
Oh, I don't think this made the podcast. But that's what I was talking about when we were coming home from Oregon or Washington.
Oh, right. Mm-hmm.
And just us three singing at the top of our lungs in the van in the middle of a snowstorm was so much fun and cathartic and just energetic. And it's like being on a drug in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So singing, I think it's very scientific. I think it's vibration and resonance, and I think it's all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Gets the body humming, like a lot of other things, that you can do.
Put you in a high frequency.
Put you in a state or whatnot. Mm-hmm. I'm still tripping on this. You are the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with. I like it.
Something to sit and think about,
You got it from that same guy?
I've heard that a number of times. I think I've even heard it from a couple of Robbins clips every once in a while. But yeah, he was saying it. I think Wayne says it too, actually, in a couple of his.
Yeah. I'm going to have to give that some thought and go into that.
You'll start paying attention to the people you talk to on a regular basis.
Yeah, for sure. Or how you talk to them. Or how you handle them or whatever, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's a lot of things where it's like when I'm saying I'm just tired of the bullshit.
Right.
There's a lot of things where it's like, I think what I'm really tired of is just excusing the bullshit in a way.
Yeah.
Which really only
agree with that.
Which really only comes down to me talking about myself for the most part and what I'm putting up with and what I'm not putting up with.
Well, as we know, it all starts from within, it all starts with the individual.
Yeah, your relationship with yourself, just like we talked about on that other podcast. That's another thing I've been trying to do a lot, every situation, and go, okay, how am I relating to this to myself?
What's my role in this?
What's my role in this to myself? What's the reflection? So, yeah. Well, hopefully you get to go skydiving this weekend.
No, I doubt it's happening this weekend, but hopefully before
the weather really turns.
Yeah, before time runs out completely.
Yeah.
I will be very disappointed.
Yeah.
I am jumping. Not really jumping. I am falling out of that damn plane this year.
Yeah. I mean, is there a chance you're not going to get it before weather turns?
I mean, when do they stop jumping? A chance. I don't really know, honestly. I imagine they jump.
They jump in this. If there's snow on the ground but the weather's clear, they jump.
They probably do. They probably do. I don't honestly know for sure, but maybe not. Depending on the plane, it's probably all about.
I mean, if it's too cold, your wings will ice up.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Fuel, gels.
I imagine they jump year round, weather permitting.
Probably do.
Well, you should get it done.
I'm gonna. Trust me, it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a matter of when.
Yeah. All right. Well, think we can call it good.
Is that it?
Yeah, man.
Okay.
Been rolling for like an hour and 20 minutes.
Oh, that went by quick.
Thanks for listening, everybody. We will have a guest in soon because we know those are your favorite. Don't forget, slow your pace.
Slow your roll.
Touch some stuff. That sounded bad. Get in the now. Any final thoughts, Eric?